Montauk was about controlling large groups of people through fear and genetic manipulation. How many of you have heard of the HARP project? The HARP project was an outgrowth of the Montauk project. It was determined that if you beam out a frequency of over 440 megahertz, it could actually alter your DNA. What does DNA mean? Most people don't even know what the word means. And actually, I like to look at the reverse of it, AND, which is and. So that means DNA is only part of an experience. There's something else necessary. And what else is necessary is the human mind, that everything is mind. You are a mind that is simply using a body. Your body is your vehicle. I also use the word mind pattern because your mind, the way you think, has a particular structure to it. And that structure is magnetic in nature. And as that mind pattern enters into physical reality from non-physical planes, the magnetic nature of it attracts atomic structure, atoms, molecules, etc., that form into the protein, and actually that should say protein bases, that become DNA. And I'm going to teach you what that really means so that every time you hear the term DNA, you'll know what that means. It's not just a term that someone came up with. It has a meaning that you need to understand so you know how it can be manipulated, and then you'll know what happened as part of the galactic plan or galactic history of the Earth. Those proteins then form in a certain pattern based on the magnetic structure of your mind pattern. And that then becomes the blueprint for your body. So literally, what you think is what you are. DNA, and don't say this too fast, it's desoxyribonucleic acid. And what that means is there are chemical protein structures, protein bases that create the blueprint for your body. So if you were scientists or you were controllers who wanted to manipulate a species or to create a species, you would need to change the structure of this particular chemical so that you would have a certain result. Now, if you realized that DNA, and it was mentioned earlier this week that it really is like a hologram, it's a projection from the mind. If you realize that, the best way to change the DNA structure is to change the mind pattern. And you can do this one of two ways. You can do it in a way where you teach people to change it themselves, or you can forcefully impose it upon them, which is what those who control this planet really do for you. And 4 protein bases. And now pay attention because there's going to be a test at the end. It's adenine, thymine, guanine, and cytosine. How many of you are familiar with the 4 protein bases that make up DNA? Okay. And for simplicity's sake, I just label it A, T, G, and C, so I show you how that they can connect. Humanity only has these 4 bases in DNA. If scientists were to discover a species or to take a cell of any other being and find out that there is something other than these 4 protein bases, they would realize that something is not from this world. Truth is, no life on this planet is natural to this planet. All life was created here on purpose or brought from somewhere else. A lot of what you learned about the history of this planet and about the nature of science and reality is actually false. The Earth once had the orbit of where the planet Venus is now. And the planet Mars was actually in what is now the Earth's orbit and was very Earth-like in its conditions. Only recently in the newspapers did they say that Mars was once Earth-like. Up until this point they said it was not. Mars does have a bit of an atmosphere and it does have some gravity.